Hi, beautiful souls. My name is Angela, and welcome to Path of Temperance. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm an intuitive healer, channel, and energy reader. And if you are returning, of course, welcome back. So, today I feel guided to share a personal experience. Today I've been going through the motions, and it actually started a little bit yesterday here. And I know that a recent transit was Venus moving into Leo, very fiery, the planet of love and beauty, right? And I feel all of these deep, dark, resentful type of emotions coming up. Okay. And it's actually being reflected within my children here. Okay. And so I've spoken on this, a few times if you follow me regularly, but I have a really hard time getting through to my boys. I'm dealing with two toddlers, very close in age, so I know their age alone has a lot to do with this, but it is very much deeper for me. And the thing that is causing me, all of this stuff to surface is because I continue to feel unheard. Okay. And I know it's not intentionally my boys saying, oh, I want to ignore mommy, but they continue to disobey, disrespect. There's a lack of boundaries, kind of just continuing to do what they please no matter what I say. And I always know this kind of stuff is a reflection of me, right? So I went through the motions today. I got, a little bit overreactive, very irritated in my morning routine with them. And it was again because I say something and it gets dismissed. I say something again politely. And I'm very patient with my boys because I do not want them to be raised with anxiety and, low self worth and self esteem because I'm yelling at them, right? And I know that comes into play because of my own childhood, right? So, huge reflection day for me here, okay? And so I had gone to my journal right before I decided to record today. And I was like, do I feel heard? And what is unconditional love to me? And even though those two questions may seem, how are they fitting? They actually go hand in hand here because I grew up feeling unheard, right? I grew up feeling that my most basic needs weren't met by my parents. And, of course, this is nothing that I hold against them. This is just me reflecting why I'm holding on to what I'm holding on to, which is then being reflected back to me through my boys. So I didn't feel heard growing up, and, I was journaling about it and going into details. And, you know, as a child, I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel that I could form my own identity. Forming our own identity may seem like a very important thing, right? You might say to yourself, yes, I need to know who I am. I want to feel confident, reassured, know my self worth, my value. I want to feel validated, right? And these are all things that are supposed to be a part of our childhood so that we can take into adulthood. Many of us in this world, unfortunately, our basic needs weren't met. Just the fact of, I just want that attention and that validation from my parents or my caretakers. If we do not get that, that is a huge heaviness on our heart. That is a huge trauma that we carry because we do not feel those feelings because of what happened in our childhood. And so I really, really just dug and dug and dug. And it kind of like tracked back to where my mom, it basically ended up tracking back to respect and boundaries. Okay. I was never taught boundaries in my life, healthy boundaries. Okay. There was never some sort of like routine and discipline in my life. Okay. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. Right. It was just kind of like, go with the flow, which I think is actually really beautiful. But then when we don't have a set routine, even in adulthood, our lives are havoc, right? We don't know how to organize things, right? There's no, okay, this needs to get done, this needs to get done, this kind of stuff. I'm actually teaching myself these things now in my 30s by myself, right? Very codependent way that my mom specifically had raised her children to rely on her for everything. And sorry for the background noise. But it's kind of like, going back through all of this, did I ever feel heard? No, I didn't. I wasn't allowed to form my own identity. Everything that I said was contradicted. Everything that I thought and I believed had a better or a different or a right reasoning to my parents, right? And now that is reflected back to me. So I don't have any healthy boundaries. What is respect to me? Because there was no respect. They didn't respect who I was as a person, which then in turn make me, again, everything is cyclical here, okay? And I know I might be kind of getting a little convoluted here. It might be going like all over the place because that's the way that my energy has been feeling here, okay? As this transit has happened, and I really think it's part of this transit because it's really trying to bring up these last things, because I've been dealing with this for my boys for a while. I go through my routine and I just ground myself, and then I'm patient and I'm calm, and then it passes, right? But the fact that it continues to come up again and again, this is a major, major thing for me, and I believe many people will resonate with. So now that I was raised to basically not know boundaries, not know respect, what is respect, okay, I am now that person in adulthood, right? It took me a long time to form my identity. I'm still working on that here, okay? And that is something that I refuse to take away from my boys. And I think the importance of what I'm going through here right now is to show me that I am unconsciously living out the way that I was raised. Okay. Because I can recall in childhood, my parents lost their temper very easily, right? I mean, we're kids, if you have children, you resonate. They hang off the walls. And so that part of that piece of our childhood, I do not want to take away from my boys. They're allowed to be children, even if it irritates me, right? Even if I'm annoyed. But then why am I annoyed that they're being children? Do you see? I'm reflecting what was reflected to me at some certain time in my life. So, do you feel heard right now in your life? What is respect to you? Have you ever given or received unconditional love? Do you have healthy boundaries set up in your life? When I look at these things, it's all miscombobulated. It's connected in a negative connotation. It is not fluid in a healthy way for me. And, I'm so grateful for my journey because I'm consistently checking in on these things, right? This stuff has been happening for a while. It's been in my conscious mind, but I just kind of thought, okay, I just need to change my approach. I change my approach and still nothing changes. And then I start, doing things a little bit differently, and I still end up right back into my same reactions, right? It's deeper. It's deeper than that here, beautiful souls, especially when we are unconsciously living our lives the way that we were programmed to do so. Whatever happened to us as a children is how we are living now as adults. And I just think this is a very important topic because we've lost our self identity. Many people in this world do not know healthy boundaries, okay? Many people do not know how to respect others and things and belongings as well as themselves here, okay? I know I'm speaking very, very personally here, but I know I can't take this into collective consciousness, okay? This is not just my story here. People live in this convoluted mind frame in life. And I call it convoluted because until you see it for what it is, it looks normal. It looks like it's life. We're going to get angry with our kids, right? No. I mean, that came out a little wrong. Okay. So we all have our own perceptions. We all have our own ways of thinking and doing and living life. Absolutely. Our own beliefs, right? But if I'm on this journey with myself here and saying, this happened to me and then it turned me into this person, I am now unconsciously doing that to my boys. I do not want them to grow up being people pleasers. I do not want them, like, I catch my oldest son sometimes apologizing to me for weird things. And I'm like, but baby, you don't need to apologize about something like that. He's already getting into this people pleasing tendency. He does not want to upset me. And this is why all these light bulbs are starting to go off. Like, okay, it's very important for me to look at this. Okay. So if you are this far and you are resonating, let's go ahead and see what kind of answers we can get, what kind of guidance we can get here from my beautiful spirit team. Because I feel that, when we think of love, it has always been conditioned, and some of us, many of us don't even know how unconditional love feels, to be loved without condition, to let our authenticity shine, to be brought up with respect and healthy boundaries, discipline. And that was something that we were never raised on, and I'm not saying that me and my siblings are bad. We are very, good people at heart, but in the bigger picture here, very unmotivated, no organization, very codependent, things like that. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. We have to have our own sense of worth and value to be able to move forward and do things for ourselves. Like I mentioned probably a while ago, I know I've mentioned it, my wings were clipped at a very young age. I wasn't allowed to think for myself. I could not form my own identity. And so now that's reflecting back in my relationship with my sons, because they are constantly ignoring me, disobeying me, because that was how I was treated, as if I was being ignored from my parents, right? My needs, whatever I said, I wasn't allowed to like have my own thoughts. I was disobeying them when that stuff would happen. So now turn it around and it's coming back to me so I can look at it. On the bottom of the deck here, it's just giving me like this really like our roots, right? These are all of our little thoughts, our little beliefs, our traditions here, rooted in the subconscious mind here, and now growing and reflecting out into our outer world. Very important. Some of them are bigger than others, some are small, right? But it's up to us to come into this area, this gray area in our life here, and figure out why things occur the way that they do, why they unfold the way that they do, right? I do not want to go on the rest of my life or my children's childhood being easily irritated by them being themselves, because that's how I was treated, right? It's time to start having a new way of thinking. Okay, being creative here in our style, our imagination, letting our imagination run here. And that was another thing here, like I was allowed to be creative and color and all that kind of fun stuff, but I even remember sometimes I would work on projects as a child, or things that, like, through school you have like this and this and this, that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this way. And then my mom will be right behind me. No, do it this way instead. We don't realize how much we take away from our children just by trying to, I guess it's like a form of control. My mom was doing this unconsciously because that's how she was raised. She didn't know any better, but at the same time, now I am doing that to my children. I mean, I catch myself. I've worked through a lot of different things, but right now I am working on the boundaries and the respect, because of the it's like my voice is not being heard, but it's because that's how I felt, that my voice was not heard growing up. So now as an adult, to my children, I'm not heard, right? It makes sense. So my beautiful angel, spirit guides, ancestors, the highest white light, and decree only my beautiful higher self, who can tell myself as well as this beautiful viewer about this, personal experience. How can we really start looking at the subconscious here, reflecting things back to ourselves that have happened in our life. These cards are having a difficult time shuffling, okay? We're having a hard time getting to these things here, okay? Look at the home, okay? The home, the roots, the family, okay? The lineage is what I'm hearing. All right. So I've spoken a few times as well on, generational things and stuff like that. Really important for us to begin looking at everything that happened into our childhood and how we are now receiving that in adulthood. It's a grounding my energy here. My right foot on the bottom hurts. Okay, this is our Earth Star chakra on our in our masculine side here. Okay, how to take action, how to step into our willpower, right? To find our strength and our courage to change our lives here, to look at things objectively, right? The balance, the balance in life here. This is definitely giving me just like Earth Star chakra immediately off the bat. Pentacles, this is the slowest moving energy in the deck. Okay. This is telling me that, many of us are very slow to move and to change and to bring this harmony and balance into our life because, again, it's very subconsciously rooted. All right. And when we are looking at these, when we're reflecting, look, and it's funny how it's like she's a reflection of herself here, right? That's where this balance comes from. It was 111 on my timestamp. It's a roots. It's our roots because even here, like on the Ace of Pentacles, it's like this hand is in with dirt and roots growing. Okay, it is so vital for us to recognize where we came from, what we were taught. Okay, so in my personal experience here, my personal circumstance, what I was taught is not the way that I want to raise my boys. Okay, if you can think back in your own childhood, are there certain things that happened to you that have now been a hindrance to you in adulthood? Okay, because even if you aren't aware of how this aspect of yourself is alive now, please know that if it came from childhood, you are then reflecting it onto your children now. That's the importance here. Okay, yes, we got to turn the wheel. We got to make this change. We got to make the change here. And I really feel like this is being brought up for me because of course I'm constantly, evolving and healing and expanding for myself. And has been a big hunch for me. This has been slow moving for me, okay? Very, very deeply rooted within my subconscious here, okay? Because I did not know that I was still reflecting these certain attributes into my boys here. It's a very big thing for me. And behind the Wheel of Fortune is the Five of Wands and then the King of Wands here, okay? It's time to take a gamble on our life here, okay? How can you risk something here today, okay? And not in a negative way, okay? So, today I could say that I'm taking a risk at I'm taking a gamble for the future of my children. I am making sure that what I am putting into their lives is beneficial for their future. I want to raise authentic, emotionally available, truth speaking and seeking gentlemen in this world. Grounded and stable and honest and open, confident and brave, to follow their dreams and their passions, to be disciplined, to respect themselves as well as others, to not think that things are just handed to them, which is something that happened to me, which I see passing down to my sons. I'll have to go to the grocery store and they expect a toy, that kind of stuff. I'm easygoing, sure, why not? I don't care. But now we're just collecting stuff and they're breaking stuff left and right. There's no respect. There's no, and I got that from my own childhood. And I don't think I was raised to be, this quote unquote spoiled person, but at the same time, we weren't taught to respect things, right? This fell on the floor. The groundedness here, the root chakra, as I was having pain, like with my foot, I'm getting a lot of root chakra here, okay? So many of us in our childhood, the stability, the instability from childhood, it's from the root chakra where our needs weren't met, where we weren't shown the simple, I guess, audacity, I mean, this is definitely like my own personal experience here, but for here, it's kind of like I wasn't able to speak my truth, right? I did not feel heard. All right. This is also telling me here that, my dad here could be King of Pentacles, very grounded, earthy person, but very emotionally detached. Here, this could be like my mom's energy, very cold and rigid and cold and rigid in her approach. It's very contradicting like style. Her throat chakra is extremely overactive here. And it caused a lot of betrayal and deceit in my life. I had to go in life here with a hood on, right? With my sweatshirt and my hood on and be like, okay, I'm not going to say anything that's going to offend this dynamic that I live within. Very detached from empathy and compassion is what I was raised around, right? And I feel like that's for many of you as well. Of course, the man, the dad, the father is always supposed to be the provider and go out there and work and just work, 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 and sometimes I feel that, I mean, again, I'm speaking on my personal experience, so always take the stuff how it resonates, but it's kind of like that's what my dad did. He thought that he was showing love to his children and his wife by going to work and making sure that we had food on the table and a roof over our heads, which is amazing. Absolutely. That's a form of stability in this life, right? That foundation to make sure that we're secure and we're safe. But what about the emotional part? My dad never gave us hugs. He never said, I'm proud of you. I love you. And those are things that, even if as a child we might not know the bigger picture of what that's doing, right? Now when I look at these things, I know that it happened for a reason. I chose to have this experience. I wanted to learn from this stuff, to come up on my own, right? But the difficulty in all of that as well is I'm still human. I still have emotions. I still have thought patterns, right? I still have beliefs and ways of living my life that I'm so accustomed to. It's not easy to break out of this stuff, you guys. Believe me, I know. But I'm not giving up. I continue to be in a death and rebirth process in my life. And, I think that, yeah, Two of Wands here, to continue to look forward, to continue making first steps to change these circumstances in my life, right? To explore new territory here with the Seven of Pentacles, to leave this type of energy here, right? From the past, from childhood. Many of us need to get into this energy. 333 on my clock. But I feel like this is, an important message, for people. This is more of me explaining, a personal experience here, but really take a look, beautiful souls. What is being reflected to you, and how can you look at it as a reflection of yourself? Because although we might look at, outside circumstances and outside factors, like why does my children treating me have anything to do with me in my childhood? We do have to switch our perspectives here, okay? It does take us some shifts. We have to shift out of the frame of minds that we're living in here, okay? To see what's happening in our lives and how we can adjust it accordingly. If you know that you were put through any pain or anything that has affected you into adulthood, if you do have children, do you want them to experience that too? Think about that. If there's something in your life that you continue to do that you don't like, think about how you're reflecting that back to your own children. And then they, in turn, as you, an adult, are leading by example, will then do that as well, right? It's a huge cycle. I'm here to break those things because I want to have my children as well as my future self live healthy, happy lives. I've definitely come into that here, okay? But I don't want to just, okay, I've done enough, I'm done, It's very important for me to make sure that my boys are well taken care of in this life, that they are going to be independent and self-sufficient. Something I never got. They're going to be authentic, to build on their own life, their own individuality. That's so important to me because that was something I didn't get. I didn't get to think for myself. I didn't get to form my own identity. So then I took all this stuff that I learned as a child, and then I'm in this place in adulthood now, just starting to build. Now just saying, okay, who am I? What is mine and what isn't? Right? What lessons can we learn here, beautiful souls? Every day there is something that you can learn. You have to find it. You have to pick it apart. And some days are going to be easier than others, just like everyday life, right? Some days are smooth and some days are a little bit crazy. So just know that whatever you have been through, adulthood, childhood, adolescence, whatever it is, beautiful souls, you don't have to hold on to it. And you don't have to continue experiencing it either. As long as you're brave enough to look at it and let it go, because you can. Exactly. Because you can. Because the angels are always here with us, guiding us and helping us heal and balance. It's all about moderation and patience. Give yourself grace. So this is something that's coming up for me today, but maybe it might take me a few days to get through it, maybe up to a week to fully process, break down, and release. Give yourself the grace that you deserve. Be patient with everything that's been hidden. All the deception and betrayal, the trauma that you have experienced in this life. Don't let yourself get stuck there. Nobody deserves that. Go within to heal. You gotta look at, and then more stuck, and then more, getting out of that, right? Something is stuck here, but I'm not gonna dig into that. We have to be our own guiding light, and especially if you want to change behavioral patterns, toxic patterns, limiting beliefs, and you do not want them passed on to your children. But first, you have to know it's a limiting belief. Because if you don't realize and you aren't aware that you're living within that and passing it along, then what difference does it make, right? If you are triggered, if you are angry, if you are irritated, those are your first signs that something is affecting you. Okay, that's your heart, that's your trauma, that's your pain coming to the surface. Why am I constantly having to yell at my boys to listen to me? One, because that's how I was treated. I was yelled at to be listened to. My mom probably felt unheard as well, right? So now, because I didn't feel heard, it's being reflected back out. We don't want to get stuck there. This is clarity for us here, beautiful souls. Look at the triggers as soon as they surface. It will change your life. I promise. So, If you're this far along, thank you for being here. I love you guys so much. I appreciate your support. Please let me know in the comments how this resonated, what you thought. If you do resonate with me and my energy, my messages, please do like and subscribe. It really helps you guys tie your energy in with me so I can pick up on your energy and then also get me out into the algorithm so other beautiful souls can come across my stuff. If you're interested in booking a personal, link is in the bio. Love